to jump into this. I have this little guy hanging just so you guys can see it as we go along. This is the one that is shown in the picture that I posted, but I also made this one a little more creative, just to encourage your kids to use their imagination when they're creating art. I have a lot of students that always just do it exactly as I'm showing them, which I completely understand because I'm one of those people as well, a bit of a perfectionist. And so I want everything to be just as I see it when I'm recreating it. But it's really important that your kids understand it doesn't have to look exactly like the reference. It is art. It's up for interpretation, and you want them to use their imaginations and be creative. So if they go a little off course, that's totally fine. Like I said, be encouraging and just kind of steer them in the direction of following the main points, because they're going to be working on hand-eye coordination. If they're old enough to use scissors, they'll be working on cutting with scissors. If not, for those of you that don't know, I did upload a template to my Google Drive, and there's a link in my bio on Instagram. You can download the template if you're not very artistic for the bat wings. And there's also some facial expression inspiration. So if your kiddo wants to do something a little different, that's totally fine. I went a different direction with this and kind of did like a quite cute little face that's very different than the original. So yeah, let them be creative. There's some more cartoon faces for you. So you don't even have to print that out. If you don't need the template, you can just pull it up and your kids can look at it while we go through the craft and get some ideas for when they draw their face. And don't be afraid to make mistakes because I made these samples and I goofed up on this face, and so I turned it into an eye patch. And then I ended up just using this other side and making it into a second bat. So mistakes are totally fine. That's how we learn, and that's how your kids will gain confidence throughout this process. If they fail, just show them why it's okay. And like I said, just encourage them. Art is tricky because it's so subjective. So I'm sure all the parents out there have heard of like the insecure artist. It never really goes away, but just try to encourage them so they do build confidence and understand that it is okay to make mistakes throughout this process, because it's just art and you can always turn it into something else or start over. It's not the end of the world, right? So for this project, you're gonna need a few things for sure. Toilet paper rolls. I have extras. If anyone needs them, just let me know. I'll mail you some. So then you're also going to need a piece of black paper. If you don't have black paper, it's totally fine. Just use whatever you have. I even have like this like piece of cardboard that came in a package that I ordered stamps. So whatever you have. If you have computer paper, use what you have, okay? You can take the paper that's not black and have your kids decorate the wings, so that way it adds a little color to it. Even like I did on this one, I just added white gel pen to the black paper, but your kids could do the reverse. So if you have white paper, just have them use black and they can draw on the wings, whatever they want. I did kind of like a spider web design, but anything that works for them. It's their project and you want them to be creative and use their imaginations. So then you're also going to need a pair of scissors, a pencil, eraser just in case. Most pencils have one, but if not, always have backup. And you're going to need some kind of pencil, crayon, marker, whatever you want to use. You see how the cheeks are a little reddish on mine? You don't have to do yours the same color. Pick whatever color you want, but we're just going to make little blush marks on the face. So it looks like they're a little rosy because the bat's smiling. Okay, so optional materials. Oh, sorry, you also need a black marker or color pencil or crayon, and we're going to use that to draw on the face. If you don't have a marker, pencil, or crayon, use a pen. It doesn't really matter. It won't be as prominent unless you go over it quite a few times and thicken up the lines, But remember, this is your first time doing this craft. How often do you run out of toilet paper? You probably change it at least once a week, right? I know I do, and it's just 2 of us in my house. So I can only imagine with your household full of kids how many times you go through toilet paper. So all I'm saying is there will be another chance in a few days for you to try this craft again. So if it doesn't work out exactly like you want it, it's totally fine. Don't stress about it. Mistakes always happen, even for me, like I said. Okay, optional. Hole puncher. Twine, ribbon, yarn, fishing line, any kind of string that you want to use is totally fine as long as it will fit through the hole that you're using to punch the hole, or as long as it fits through the hole that you're punching with the hole puncher. That's what I'm trying to say. Another thing is a white gel pen or crayon or colored pencil, any of those. And that's just like, if you want to do like I did and add some designs to your black paper for the wings, you can do that with a white marker pen of some sort. And then, okay, so I don't have glue. So what I used instead, this is a necessary item. If you don't have glue, you can use tape. You can use those tacks that punch in and then you spread them apart. I can't remember what they're called. But anything like that. I didn't do well with double-sided tape, but you are welcome to try. I'm just using regular old tape. And this will be used to attach the wings. So whatever you have on hand, be flexible. Use what you have. There's no need to go buy more materials and all that. We're keeping it simple because art is supposed to be fun, and the more you have to think about it, the less fun it is. So let's jump into this. I will keep this little lady right here for now in case anybody wants to check it out. Let me move this paper. There we go. And get this stuff out of the way. And while I do that, I will tell you that I am planning on doing this once a month for the kiddos. I know, especially like with COVID stuff, even with school back in, things are really weird for everybody. Kids don't have as many creative outlets as they necessarily had in school. And not every parent is creative. Not every person is creative. And so I can only imagine if you're not a creative parent and you have a child that is interested in creative projects and art, how hard it is to be able to show them creativity when you're just not that type of person, you know, just completely opposite sides of the brain. So my hope is that this will help alleviate some, I don't know if stress is the right word, but just some pressure for parents to keep up with everything that was going on with school. And on top of that, everything that's going on at home and trying to work from home and blah, 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 blah. So I want to help you guys out. In addition, I want you guys to know that I do offer virtual art classes, and they are 1 hour long art classes, $50 for the hour. If you buy more classes, I do offer a discounted rate, but you can go to my website, crystalbodiford.com, and you can book a virtual art class. And I want to use Zoom, but if someone prefers another method, like even Instagram or Facebook, I'm totally open to that. But I just wanted to share with you guys that this is going to be a thing. And so next month I'll have probably, I don't know if it'll be Thanksgiving thing, but it will be some kind of autumn, fall themed craft or art project for kids. And some might be craftier than others. Some might be more traditional art where they're actually learning like painting techniques or something like that. But I like to keep that stuff mostly for the paid art classes, because if somebody pays you to teach their kid art, you want to make sure you're teaching them the basics, right? Okay, so here we go. That's my spiel. First, we're going to take your toilet paper roll, right? And I painted this one. You're welcome to do that. It will take longer to dry before you can, obviously, because this one's not painted, but it will take longer overall because you have to wait for the paint to dry before you can draw your face on it. So if you want to go that route, be my guest. For the sake of time, I am not going to do that because I want to make sure we are able to get through the traditional little guy right here. And then if we have time, I will absolutely jump on another one so you guys can see what the process is and how it differs, because it's a little bit backwards from this guy. This guy we're going to draw our face on first, and this one you're going to paint the entire tube with whatever color you want. I used a black metallic paint, which actually looks a little silver when it dries, but it took, I want to say about 10 minutes to dry, so we might have time for that. But let's get through this guy first. Okay, so take your toilet paper roll, and if you want, you can pull up the sheet of facial expressions that's on my blog. And it's just crystalbodiford.com, and then just click the blog. It's the second post down, and you'll see little cartoon faces that you can look at if you need some inspiration to draw your face. So I'm gonna maybe stick with the eyes the same way, but I might change up the mouth on mine. We'll see. So you're gonna take your black marker. If you don't have a black marker, you can use a pen, you can use a crayon, or a colored pencil, okay? And what we're going to do, oh, look at that. That's what I like to see, that nice sharp tip on that Sharpie. It doesn't matter where you draw your face because we're doing it first. So anywhere on the tube is fine. I like to make sure I'm gonna keep mine kind of towards the top half of the tube. But that's not necessary. It's your bat. You can draw the face wherever you want. And we're gonna put the wings on second. So we're gonna line those up with the face. So do not worry about where your face is horizontally, okay? It does not matter. So I'm going to turn this way so you guys can see it. This guy, you see, he's got one eye bigger than the other. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the biggest eye because I wanna make sure I don't make it similar to the same size. And for me, it's easier to start with the larger one. So you might look at this and think, wow, that's a little intense. How am I gonna draw that, right? These eyes are just circles. It's 3 circles, okay? So we're gonna start with the largest one, and I'm gonna show you how to draw this with 3 circles. Okay, and it doesn't matter which side your larger eye is on. It doesn't matter which side the smaller eye is on. Just do whatever comes naturally, okay? Do not overthink it. I just dropped my marker pen or top, but it's okay. Okay, so we're gonna draw one big circle, okay? And see, my circle's even bigger than the circle I drew on this guy. And that's totally fine. And then you're gonna draw a smaller circle inside that circle. And when you do that, you want to try to keep it closer to the bottom if you're trying to match this guy. If you're doing your own thing, don't even worry about it. And then we got one more circle to draw, okay? So we got 2, and it's okay. They don't have to be perfect circles either. It doesn't matter. Then you're going to draw one more circle. I drew mine at the top right, okay? So maybe 1 o'clock if you're looking at it like a clock you're telling time on. Okay, so why did I draw that 3rd circle? That circle is going to be the highlight in the eye. So you could do that if you had white paint or a white paint pen. You could go back over the black if you filled it in completely. But this is a way just to keep it the same color as the toilet paper roll with 1 less step and 1 less material needed, okay? So now we're not going to color in the tiny circle we drew. We're going to color around it, okay? And if you color it in, it's okay. We'll go back and fix it later. Don't stress about it. But if you try, you can color around it. And then you'll have a little, it's like a little sparkle in the bat's eye. Okay, so that's one eye, right? Okay, so now we're gonna draw another eye on the other side, and let's see, I'm gonna draw, I think last time I did it on the right side, so I'll do the bigger one on the left side this time. And I'm gonna do the same thing, just smaller circles, okay? If anybody has any questions, type them. I don't think anybody has yet, so we're good. But if your littles have questions, just type them and I will answer them as we do this, okay? Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing, 3 circles. They're all 3 gonna be smaller than the first 3 we drew, okay? So you're gonna go 1 circle, 2 circle, and 3 circle, okay? And then do the same thing. Then you're gonna fill in around the small circle. And you don't have to hold it like this. I'm just holding it like this so you guys can see it. But I guarantee this one will not be as pretty as this one doing it this way, okay? All right, so this is what my eyes look like so far. So big circle, middle circle, little circle, and then you fill in the middle circle, okay? Big circle, middle circle, tiny circle. Fill in the middle circle, okay? Hey, Kathy. And if you, like I said, if you filled in the tiny circle on accident, don't worry about it. We'll come back and fix it. That's one of the great things about art. If you mess up, you can turn it into something else or go back and fix it. There's usually a way you can fix things. Okay, so what's next? My bat does not have a nose. I don't know why, but I like it without a nose. Most bats just have a little tiny nose with nostrils, okay? So I'm just gonna leave it no nose, but this guy up here has eyebrows, right? See, he's just got these tiny little eyebrows, just little lines, right? They're just tiny little lines. So what we're gonna do is, do you notice how they're angled? They're both, think of like the roof of a house, and it goes to a point like a triangle. So if these eyebrows were the sides of a triangle, they would go like this. So let's do that with our marker. We're gonna draw, we won't connect them at the top like the top of a roof though, okay? So we're gonna draw 1 eyebrow and 2 eyebrows. See, that was easy. They're just straight lines, right? Okay. So after that, I do want to say your eyebrows don't have to be straight lines. You can do, let's see, if you want to draw your eyebrows like this, you can draw eyebrows like that. You can draw, some eyebrows look kind of evil, like think about the bad guy in movies. He looks like that. He's got crazy pointed eyebrows. Maybe you want really crazy hairy eyebrows. You could draw them like that. You could also, if you want to put eyelashes on your bat. Okay, so I'm just going to draw an eye right here. And you could put eyelashes, right? It's totally up to you. Okay. Then what we're gonna do next is we're gonna draw our mouth, okay? So this guy's like got a little smile and little pointy teeth up here, right? I think this time though, I'm gonna draw kind of silly, goofy looking teeth, okay? So they're gonna be more rounded and square rather than, these are triangles, right? So if you want to match this guy, I'm going to show you how to draw right now. You're going to draw the smile, right? Which is just a half circle. So think of it like a moon or half of a football or half of an eye, right? So a football. Sorry, I'm doing this upside down. Football looks like that. So a smile would be half a football. And you're going to draw 1 line there, 1 line there. Okay, so you got your smile now. And now we're going to draw the teeth. So it's a triangle. 1 tooth, 2 teeth, 3 teeth. Okay, so that's how you would draw the mouth as is on that bat, okay? I'm gonna draw one that's a little goofier though, so you can follow along with me or you can do your own thing. So let me make sure you guys can see this. I'm going to draw a smile. You got a little silly on that side because I couldn't see it. And then I'm gonna draw silly goofy teeth. I'm gonna follow the same pattern. I'm still gonna have 3 teeth in the same area. It's not easy to draw like this, but you guys get the idea. Obviously I've already made it. So my guy's got goofy teeth this time. So that's pretty funny, right? Okay, so let's see what else. Now we're gonna do, I'll give you a second to finish your mouth. I don't want to rush you guys through this. I dropped my marker top, so I'm just gonna find that. Okay. How's everybody's bats going? Are they turning out okay so far? Let's see. Okay, next we are gonna draw the blush on our bats. So just like we have cheeks, this little bat's gonna have cheeks, and he's gonna have rosy cheeks, okay? So you're gonna take, again, you can choose whatever color you want. I chose a red-orange color, but you can do pink, you can do red, you can do, oh, the teeth, yeah. On my bat, there's my teeth. So they're squares. These guys are squares, okay? Or you can do them like a triangle right here. Cool. Okay. I'll give you one more second. But you can pick any color you want for the cheeks. Typically it's pink, red, maybe a red orange or something, a peachy color, but you are welcome to use any color you like. Ooh, multi-shaped teeth. I can't wait to see what those look like. They're gonna be awesome. If they're anything like Tabitha's pumpkin, I'm gonna love it. Okay, so we're gonna draw the cheeks, and this is super easy. You can do it a couple ways though, okay? I'm gonna flip this over so it's easier for you to see. So you can do a circle, okay? And just leave it like that. You can do a circle and fill it in. See, I got outside the lines, totally fine. Or what I did is I just kind of brushed it on there, just kind of scribbled. Thanks, Frank. I just kind of scribbled and made it into somewhat of a circle shape without actually making a circle. So it's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be. It's totally fine if it's not perfect. So, and actually, this one's just little ovals. So you can see those are ovals filled in, okay? And this one, actually, let me take this down so you guys can see it. Okay. This guy is just kind of scribbly. Okay. So I'm just gonna scribble. See, it's not perfect. That's why it's awesome, because it's not perfect. That's why what makes handmade art so great. Okay. Now we are going, oh, sorry, it got dark because my computer was going to sleep. I used the light for my computer screen. Okay. Now we are going to, okay, well, first I should say, this is the optional part. If you want to make it a hanging bat, we are now going to attach our ribbon, twine, fishing line, yarn, whatever you're using, and we're going to punch our holes. So I'm going to open this up so you can see exactly what I've done. I'm sure it's not hard to figure out. So I've hole punched on each side across from each other, and I put the twine through one hole and then brought it up and tied it. So that's what I've done. Now I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? Afterwards, we will push the tops down to make our bat ears, and you will have a little hanging bat guy once we attach the wings, okay? So get your hole punch, get your scissors, and get your ribbon, thread, yarn, whatever. So you want to line it up with the side, beside the eyeball. You don't want to go too far back, so you kind of want it in the center, right on each side. So there's no, actually this might make it easier for you if you push this in first, because then it will give you the points for the ears, and then you can just go right in the middle of that and punch the hole. So let's do that first. We're gonna take our toilet paper roll. We're gonna push the back side at the center in, okay? So it kind of forms a little half circle, I guess. And then we're gonna do the same thing to the front. And I made my eyes a little big this time, so it might go in there, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so that gives you your little bat ears, okay? So now you can see right where you're gonna put that hole. So you don't even need to draw anything. You can open this back up, okay? And see how it gives you that little triangle piece? I don't know if you can see it, but it gives me creases after I fold my toilet paper, so I can see this triangle outline and know exactly where I need to put my hole punch. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to try to do this backwards so you guys can see it. So, okay. So I've just got my hole punch there. I guess it's kind of centered. It's really hard to see this way, but centered. Then you punch it, and then you flip it to the other side, and you do the same thing. If you want to get really precise, you can use a ruler, and you'll just measure the same amount down on each side. So let's say this would be 1/4 inch space and 1/4 inch space. I can already tell mine's a little wonky, but it doesn't really matter. If you're that much of a perfectionist, definitely measure it out. But remember, this is kids' crafts, and you don't want them to be so much of a perfectionist where they start doubting every little thing that they do throughout the art process, because they'll start becoming too critical of themselves, and then they won't feel confident in their art if it looks different than somebody else's or something like that. So just remember to allow a little creative freedom in the process and let it get wonky. It's okay. See, it's good enough. So now I'm gonna take my string. If you have a certain place in mind that you want to hang your bat from, you are welcome to measure your string. I don't have a particular place that I want to hang it, and so I just did about 12 inches, and I eyeballed it. So that's close, right? So then you're going to cut your string, okay? So that's about how far down mine will hang, which is totally fine with me. You're going to put the string in one of the holes from the outside in, okay? Outside in. And then you're going to take it and go inside out on the other side. So outside in, inside out, okay? And then you're going to bring it up make the tops even, and then you're going to tie in a knot. Now, if you're a kid and you don't have help from parents with this, I will show you how to tie the knot. So you're going to hold both the ends. You're going to bend them over your finger, bend it back around your finger. So now you're holding it like that, okay? Your thumb's holding it. And then you're going to take these loose ends, take your finger off so you have a little circle, and you're going to push those ends around and up and through. This might be kind of hard to see virtually, but pull them through and then hold both ends and pull them tight, okay? So now you've got a knot and your little bat will hang. So once you've got it tied, go back, press your ends back in, and your little bat will fly. Once we add wings, of course. So that's what we're gonna do next, are our wings. So I'll give you a second to do this, to finish that up. If anybody has any questions about that part of the process, just let me know. I'll give you time to finish that and then get your template if you need the template for the wings. I'm just gonna wing it on mine. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist the bad pun. And which I did for these two. So the only thing that's kind of risky about that is if you draw them both by hand without using any template, then they might be different sizes. But what I do is I draw one and then I cut it out and I use it for a template for the second one to make sure that they both match. If you're using the template I uploaded for you guys to use, don't worry, those are the same size, they're the same wing, it's just flipped. So don't worry about those being different sizes. Unless your cutting job gets creative. That's different. So while you guys are finishing that part up, I wanted to share with you that I created a bat Zentangle coloring sheet with I think 4 bat facts on it for the kids. So just thank you for joining my first Kids Craft Hour live on Instagram. You can download that coloring sheet for them, and it just, I always like to make sure I'm educating my kids, not just artistically, but in factual ways, you know, like this project's about bats, so I want to include facts about bats, so they learn a little something about them. I've done projects in the past where we did watercolor jellyfish, and so I listed facts about jellyfish. If we focus on a particular artist, like I've done Mondrian paintings with my kids on just like small canvases and acrylic paint. If you don't know who Mondrian is, he is a artist that, well, I guess the easiest way to explain it to someone who's not an artist is, you know, those grid paintings that are black, red, white, blue, and yellow, they're primary colors. That is a Mondrian painting. So if I'm teaching my kids about Mondrian, I always include a sheet with some facts about him, his art, and you know, maybe some other artists that are inspired by Mondrian. So, you know, just things like that. So it's not just a creative process. It is left brain and right brain. So I think that's important for them to be using both sides of their brain, because I think everybody does so many different things nowadays, and even if you're not an entrepreneur, you've got like a side gig, a side hustle, whatever you want to call it. And so I think it's important for kids to be able to adapt what's going on around them, just like we're having to adapt to 2020, right? So yeah, just a little tidbit about what I do in art lessons. Frank, yeah, it's not easy getting Rocky and Cheese to sit down and watch its arson. Well, I don't know how interested dogs are going to be in this, but maybe if I bring Sadie and Chase especially, we'll get excited. For those that don't know, Chase and Sadie were like boyfriend and girlfriend in LA when we lived there, and Frank was our neighbor. We have a history. Okay, so we're going to do our wings now. So I'm going to move these guys out of the way. Try not to knock over my tea. Okay, so if you're using the template, you're going to cut out those wings. And if you have a little that can't use scissors, I suggested cutting them out beforehand for them. But if you didn't, that's totally fine. You can cut them out now for them, or they can attach them later when you're around. So I'm going to take my pencil. If you are using a template, actually I'll draw one and then I'll cut it out, and that'll be like my template so you guys can see what you would do. So I'm just drawing mine like willy-nilly, so we'll see what we'll see what happens. Not too bad. Okay, so if you have the download, just pretend like this is my download. You're gonna cut around the wing. My scissors are way too big for this, but it's okay. I left my other scissors in New York, of course. Oh, I'm so silly. I don't even know if I told you guys. So, the Bat Zentangle coloring sheet and facts are on my website, on the blog. So, I'll also post, actually, if you click the link in my bio on Instagram, the same Google Drive that had the template and the information for this craft, the coloring sheet is in there as well. So you can download it there. You can download it from my blog, crystalbodford.com/blog, or just click it in the menu. Yeah, and keep the party going. So I know a lot of kids aren't getting to trick or treat this year, and while I do think it's a huge bummer for them, and they are missing out on an experience, I think it's, you know, we gotta be smart. We don't really know what's going on with this COVID thing, and we're still learning about it, right? So adapt. So maybe this will help. If you're not doing the craft with them tonight, you can do it on Halloween with them. Okay, so this is my wing. Can you see the pencil lines? So if you have pencil lines on your wing, if you just drew it and didn't use the template, or if you did, you traced it and you got pencil lines, you can just use an eraser. Depending on the kind of paper you have, make sure you're being careful with the paper because you don't want to tear it. Yesterday, I was working on the bat wings for my second bat, and for this little lady, and I tore one of the points off, and so I had to redraw the wing and recut it out. So don't waste your time doing that. Okay, so I got my pencil marks off, and I'm going to make one more wing by setting this down and tracing it on this paper. And it won't matter which side it's on, because if your paper is the same color on both sides, then you could just flip it around as needed. You don't have to make sure that you have the left and right wing, because either way you do it will be left or right, if that makes sense. And it doesn't have, I mean, if you're worried, you can try to make it exact, but I just kind of do like a general outline, because I know when I go back and cut it, I might move the scissors around a little bit and change the way I'm doing the wing. So, you know, allow yourself some creativity and flexibility in there. Okay, so I've got my second wing drawn, okay, and I'm going to cut it out. And remember, like I said, if you don't have white or black paper, it's totally fine. Use whatever paper you have. I mean, even if you have like orange construction paper. That would look really cute with the bat. And like Halloween, you could decorate it with a black marker and orange construction paper. That would be really cool. You could even use white paper and use your crayons or markers or colored pencils to draw all over it. It does not have to be this black paper like I have. I use this paper when I make my paper flower bouquets, and so I already had some. But you know what I don't have? Construction paper. So I'm making do with what I have, and that's what you should do with your project too. Make do with what you have. Don't go out and buy a bunch of stuff. There's so many things around the house that you can use to make art. If you guys have ideas for next month's project too, I'm all ears. I'm very open. I definitely think I'll be focusing mostly on children's projects because I've been teaching kids art for three years now, I think. Something like that, 3 years. And I just love it. I love teaching kids art. They just have the best imaginations. And they don't care about the rules of art. You know, I went to school, like to college for art. And I think sometimes I get too much in my head and too many rules, not enough just free expression and creativity. So I'm just erasing the pencil marks, and we've got about 14 minutes left. Okay, so we don't have much more to go, but I'll try to squeeze in showing you how to paint a toilet paper tube if you want to do that for your next bat. So now I have my wings. There's my wings. Here's my little bat. Okay, so we're gonna attach these wings to this guy. And what you're gonna do is, you see these little tabs on the ends? We're gonna bend them, okay? So I'm gonna show you like this. This is the top of my wing. The bottom of my wing is at the bottom, okay? I know that seems self-explanatory. So what you're gonna do is you're going to take this tab and you're gonna bend it backwards, okay? So it's gonna be like an L shape. See the little tab? Okay. And you're gonna do that the same way with your other wing, okay? I'm gonna show you why while you're doing that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put glue or tape. If you have tape, I'll show you how to do that because it's gonna be a little different than the glue. You're gonna glue this tab on the outside, okay? So if this is my wing, this is my tab, okay? I'm bending it back. I'm gonna put glue on that tab, and then I'm gonna stick it and hold it till it's dry for my bat wing, okay? I made them a little big this time, but that's okay. Okay, if you have tape, I'll show you how to do that because I have tape, I do not have glue. And depending on the glue you have and the paper you have, you wanna make sure your glue is strong enough to hold the weight of your paper. So if you have really thick paper, it might be a little difficult to get it to stick. So you might need to add tape to it or find a stronger glue, okay? Or maybe even cut your wings smaller depending on how big they are. Okay, so I've got tape. I'm just gonna take maybe about an inch long piece, and instead of gluing this little tab, I'm gonna put my tape on this side facing down towards the bat. So let's see, I want my wing to be about right there. So I'm holding it and fail. I'm holding it. Let's try it again. Tried to move it, that's why I dropped it. I'm just gonna shift it back because I wanna make sure that crease where I bent it is not too far forward because I don't want it to cover the mouth, right? So this looks like a little too close, so I moved it back just a little bit. And then I'm just gonna tape it right down onto the toilet paper roll. And believe me, glue would be much cuter, but I can't find my glue, so I'm using tape. And you won't even be able to tell once you bend back the wing, you can't see the tape. So it's totally fine. Okay, one wing attached. It's gonna fall over because I don't have two wings. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm gonna bend this piece back, and that's gonna be the piece that I attach the glue or the tape to. Going to use about 1 inch of tape. I want to try to make them kind of even, okay? So you can look at the front or you can look at the back, whichever is easier for you to tell if the wings are about in the same spot. And that looks pretty even to me. So I'm going to take it, put my tape, oh no, I don't like that. It got a little too close. Okay, I'll just reposition it a little bit. And put my tape down. This tape piece is a little too big, but that's okay. And voila, my bat. Now, since I have 9 minutes left, 9 minutes, you guys obviously don't have to finish in 9 minutes. Excuse me. But Instagram Live cuts off after an hour, so I want to make sure. I just realized my little guy was sticking up in the front. I want to make sure you guys understand how to make the painted one before I get off of here. So this is our little bat, as is our cute little rosy cheeks. We've got our wings, and he can hang. So let's let this little dude hang. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do that because it's just gonna block my face. So I will let these dudes hang out together. You can see the difference in size in my bat wings. I definitely think the smaller ones are cuter. So I would go that route if I had a choice. I would do that again. Okay, so if you want to do a painted bat and just more decorative, I'll show you how to do that real fast. You're gonna need your toilet paper roll, okay? And whatever paint color you want. If you don't have paint, I'm gonna use watercolor paint because that's what I always use. And I was thinking maybe this one's lime green because maybe he's like a Frankenstein bat, okay? So if you don't have paint, you can use Crayola markers. You can brush them on and then use a paintbrush on them, and that will kind of make a watercolor type effect. You can also just use crayons, just color around it with crayons. If you put weight on it and smash it up a little bit, it's totally fine. Okay, so what I'm doing, oh God, I love this color, y'all. Okay, this is Neon Lime Green from Hydrocolor. And I just bought this, and I haven't even had a chance to use it yet, but holy moly, that's pretty. You're going to paint the entire toilet paper roll, which I am trying to do super fast for you guys. And then once it dries, which depending on what you use, obviously if you use crayons or a marker or something, you don't have to wait for it to dry. And you can just continue on with the project drawing your face, no big deal. If you use watercolor or even acrylic paint is totally fine too. Just make sure you don't put it on too thick or your bat's gonna get really stiff. The toilet paper roll will get really stiff. Okay, so once your paint dries, then you can start drawing your face, and you'll just go into the steps just like we did. So you'll draw your face, and then you'll draw your cheeks, right? So we started with the eyes, and then we moved on to our mouth, and then we put our rosy cheeks on, right? So, oh my gosh, 6 minutes, okay. I don't know, who's still on? My mom? My mom's probably the only one still on. Anyway, if you did this project tonight, I would love to see how it turned out. Even if you didn't stay on the whole time, if you watched and then did the project later, whatever you did, make sure you tag me because I love kids art, like I said, and especially if they followed along one of my tutorials, because one, I get to see their beautiful artwork, but two, it gives me feedback, because then I can see like if they missed steps, if I didn't explain something properly, like why did it turn out different, those kinds of things. And I'm always trying to improve as a teacher. I definitely want to provide the best experience for the kiddos. Okay, so that is my Frankenstein bat body. Okay, so obviously I've got 5 minutes and this is not going to dry in 5 minutes. So I'm just going to go ahead. It might smear or bleed a little bit. If it's dry, that's not going to happen. Don't worry about that. I just want to make sure I get to show you this before the live ends, okay? Actually, if I can use no, I'll just use Sharpie, it'll be faster. Okay, so I'm going to draw my eyes. This time I'm going to draw them a little meaner. So I'm going to draw a little meaner eye this time, okay? So all I'm doing is, to make it meaner, I'm starting in and going up. Oops. Okay. I like doing one eye bigger than the other because it makes them look silly. Okay. And then I'm going to do the mouth. This is hard because it's not dry. But like I said, the watercolor, it takes about 10 minutes to dry. So it doesn't look awesome because it's wet, but you get the idea. So once the watercolor dries, you can draw your face on, and then you can do your little cheeks. Okay, and then you'll push the sides in, or the top in, sorry. You'll start with the back. You want the back to go in first, and then you want to do the front part, okay? Because then that allows for your design to be seen more. So it's my angry bat. So push that in, and then you'll cut out your wings and attach them, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Now, if you want to draw on your wings, you want to make sure you do that before you attach them, because it's not going to be a good idea to start drawing once your wings are attached to your bat, because you're going to pull them from your bat. They might rip, they might tear, and you're just not going to have enough space to put enough pressure on them to draw on them properly without messing up your bat. So with 2 minutes left, wow. Thank you guys. Nope, not saying that anymore. Thank you all for joining my live. If you missed it, I will be doing this once a month, a kids craft hour, and doing some kind of craft or art project each month for 1 hour on Instagram. And I'm going to try to start doing it on Facebook as well simultaneously. So we'll see what happens. But if you joined, thank you, thank you, thank you. Go over to my website, crystalwaterford.com, and download your coloring sheet for your kiddo. That is a Bat Zentangle coloring sheet, and also includes some bat facts. Check out my website. I offer virtual art classes. They're 1 hour long via Zoom. I can also do Instagram or Facebook if that's easier for you, or even FaceTime, whatever works. And it's for kids or adults, but I do focus on children's artwork. So give me a follow. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and Facebook. Visit my website by clicking the link in my bio. And thank you so much for watching. Be sure to tag me in any of your projects that you do for my tutorials, and I can't wait to see them and share them. Have a good night.